Imagine a room just getting home from work, from going out to drink, from having a party. You go home, you lay down, you close your eyes for a second. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when it's going to happen. You hear noise rattling, things being thrown around. And you think it's just your roommates having a party, enjoying themselves. And then you see this dark, looming shadow over you. And you wake up. And you see this big guy. He's just standing over you. You don't know what's going to happen. You get up. What are you doing in here? How can I help you? What do you need? No! No! Ah! Fighting him off, trying to get him off. And then he bites you. Ah! Ah! And it hurts. You don't know how much it hurts. You pass out from the pain. And then you wake up and you look around. And this dude that you fought out is lying here, dead on the ground. The ugliest face you've ever seen is just laying here on the ground. And you have a big bite wound. And then you go out and you see the loveliest lady that you can see. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and she's pointing her shotgun at you. And you pass out again. Now, what did you think about that opening? Welcome to Jonathon's room, where nerdom rules and normacy jewels. That opening is actually from a friend of mine, Lynn E, and that's the way that he describes his book that he wrote, and that is A Zombie Waltz. The way that I did it was the opening of him, and it was really good. Lynn is very, very good. He's a very good writer, and it's just awesome the way that he has it. Now, the way that he has his books is he has chapters, and in the chapters he has sections, and those sections go from first person to third person, which I think works really well. He transitions really well. Now, he has two main characters. Give me a minute. My co-host is one in. Now, my little co-host with the four little paws. She's adorable. She's even cuter than this ugly mug. But anyway, as I let her in, I will continue to talk. He has two main characters, Les and Faith. Faith is a doctor, and Les is the person who actually got bitten by a zombie, and he survived the zombie bite, which is unusual because a lot of people in a traditional zombie book and a traditional zombie novel, if you get bitten by a zombie, you turn into a zombie. And in Lynn's book, he doesn't have it that way, which is completely awesome and a completely cool concept. It's a concept that I really, really enjoyed, and it's a concept that not many people have came up with. Um, and you know, not a lot of people would have the imagination to come up with a person who got bitten by a zombie but not turning into a zombie. But um, with being bitten by a zombie, there's several there are several problems that he has because of it. Um, and you get to meet some influential characters in it, which is really, really cool, and which I enjoy. Oh, here, the co-host wants to say hi. Say hi, co-host. But yeah. So with the zombie waltz, Lynn has come up with a really cool concept. Um, there aren't too many drawbacks on there. Um, I didn't see there were any too many drawbacks on there. Uh, and you know, it's a serious book, but Lynn has little bits and pieces of comedic relief to help with the seriousness. That way, it's not so serious. Um, one of my one of my issues with it though is on the romance aspect of it, because Les and Faith do get together, but my main concern with that whole thing is is he kind of in the, I'll explain it my way, and then I'll say where I think that he's trying to go with it. But with me, I just think that he kind of jumped into the romance too quickly, and it's something because he's wanting to have this as a trilogy. So, like I said in the beginning, Faith was pointing a shotgun at Les, and there was kind of a mixed chemistry with them, and then out of nowhere, the chemistry just kind of grows and becomes a romance. And I felt like for the first book, the romance was too quick, and I would I would like, or I would have liked to see the romance slowly begin, continue on into the second book, and then fully blossom into the third book. But because of the zombie apocalypse, I can see where he would jump right into the romance between Faith and Les. And I love that idea. But for me, with it being a three-book trilogy, I would have just liked to see it um, blossom a little bit more. And as the story developed a little bit more, the romance developed a little bit more. But like I said, I can see it from his point of view. Some of his characters are brilliantly written. Um, I gotta say this: one of his characters kind of kind of hit home for me, and that was his soldier character Ramirez, because in '09 I went to basic training, and in that basic training, I one of my battle buddies' name was Patrick Ramirez. So when I read his name and that he pretty much killed himself off. It just hit really, really close to home to me, and I thought it was cool, and I thought it was kind of unusual because Lynn didn't know that part about me, but I just thought that that was cool, and I was glad that part of his book um, hit hit home for me. Um, another character that I really enjoyed, and if if he would have continued to build onto this character, the character would have been my favorite character because he kind of made him a hillbilly type of character, and um, he would have really been, if he would have continued on with that character, he would have most definitely been my favorite character. And that character is, I had to look up his name because I can't remember it on the top of my head. He was an older man, and it was when they first was when they first met Mr. Petrova, and man, let me put this on pause while I find his name. It's Levi. His redneck character's name is Levi, and I would have really liked to see more character develop, more of a character developed with him, because I just thought that he was a cool character. Um, and then his villain, Mr. Petrova, you don't really know what he's up to, and you still don't really know what he's up to. I know the way that he ended the book, and I'm not going to get into too many details on that, but um, Mr. Petrovov is up to something, and at first he really doesn't want Les and Faith too much in the compound. He really doesn't want them in the compound. But then when they break out, he goes after Les because Les is the only human who has been bitten who has survived a zombie bite. So he kind of goes after him. And for me, I think that's a really cool idea. And like the whole book concept and the whole storyline, I'm excited to see what's going on in the what's going to happen in the second novel, because there's a character in there that he wrote in, and then you don't know what happens to her, and I really want to know what happens to her, and that is Faith's niece Rose. And the way that he wrote her, it just seems like she's gonna be a really cool character that you don't know what's gonna happen to. And when I asked him about it today, he was kind of like, "When did you like to know?" So I'm gonna wait until the second novel, and that's another good thing about this, is that he is so creative that he came out with a way of being like a normal author. This is I forgot to say that Lenny Main is a brand new author. He just um, published his book, and copies of it just came out last week. But I promised you that I would have it read and reviewed this week. So that's exactly what I did. But the way that Lenny did it was any normal way that an author would do it. He left you wanting more. And any normal writer who has actually written and published a book wants that. And Lenny has succeeded in in getting that. And I'm excited to say that. Um, shit. Anyway, I'm excited to actually get started, and I cannot wait for his second novel to come out. But like I said, it is enormously great book, enormously great talent. He has a great imagination. I mean, you'd have to be very, very imaginative to come up with something like this. And I do got to say this: Lenny is living in a small town in Lakin, and he has succeeded in doing something and setting a goal for himself and getting that goal completed, and that is spectacular, especially for a small town boy or a small town man like Lenny, a small town man like me. You know, getting a book and getting it written, getting it published, getting it out there. You think that it would be easy, but it's not. You put your heart and soul into this, and that's exactly what Lenny has done. He has put his heart and soul, blood and tears into writing this book, and it is a great achievement for him. And it was so much fun for him, and it was so much fun doing this review for him. I cannot wait to have him on the show, um, to talk to him about it. But as for his book, I normally don't give too much of a rating, but on his book, I'm gonna give him 5 stars because it, for a small time author, it is one of the better books, and I think that if there's any lovers out there, you should definitely check out his book. I believe he has it on Amazon, but once I talk to him, I will ask him more about that because I don't know too many more details on that. If you want to know for sure, give me a message, um, and I'll send him a message asking, and then I will post it, or I will send you a message. But other than that, I think I'm pretty much done. I talked it out. I don't want to give out too much more information than what I've already given out, but it is really real written. It's got comedic relief where it belongs. I believe that from first person to third person, back to third person to first person, his transitions went smoothly, which is what you want to do when you're writing a book, is have those smooth transitions, and he has succeeded in that. So once again, congratulations, Lenny. Can't wait to have you talk with me on the show. Um, and that'll about do it for this review. So from Jonathan's room, see ya.